Got to let you know what to expect as you step out on your Thursday. We've been talking about that nice warm up on the weekend, and it kind of comes to town today, Matt. You'll start to feel that warm up this afternoon.
Yeah, we're starting to cross between warm to kind of hot.
Yeah. Yes.
And you feel it in the afternoons. The mornings are still all right.
Yeah, it's still nice.
One thing we've been talking about is the lack of rainfall. I wanted to show you a crop fire, though, that we had in eastern Indiana. You know, we've had a lot of viewers kind of ask, hey, it's good that it's dry going into harvest season, right? You don't want the tractors and combines to get stuck out there. Of course, there's dry, but then there's drought, and then there's this flash drought, which is accelerating the drought very quickly with the high heat coming our way. When you have high heat, it dries out the soil even faster. You got a little dust out in the field, it gets messy, and then you can spark things, and it's not good. This was actually in southern Henry County. The photo comes in from the Bentonville Fire Department. Bentonville's in northern Fayette County. But you guys know how things go in eastern Indiana. Everyone kind of pitches in to help out, but they were helping out. The barn caught fire, a lot of the crops caught fire, but they stopped it from spreading too much further there in southern and southeastern Henry County. So that's something that we're watching out for. The fire risk is going up, unfortunately. Now, for all these events that maybe you're headed to today for 9/11, or maybe you're just trying to get your kid to practice later today or tomorrow. We've got a lot of games across the state, a lot of soccer games today, cross country meets this weekend. There's so much going on, so it's nice that it's dry, but wish we could get a little bit of rain. This morning, there's a touch of patchy fog, mainly south of Indianapolis, but for the most part, you're going to be fine just headed into work and headed to school today. Right now, we're waking up with a lot of 50s north of Indianapolis, although Muncie and Marion, we've cooled off into the 40s now. Indy, we're still holding on to the 60s, but you get outside of Indianapolis, and we're in the 50s this morning, 54 from Anderson to Richmond, and it's 59 in Nashville, 59 in Seymour, low 60s in Bloomington and in Bedford. Coming up, though, we've got to talk about another warm front that's on the way that will heat us up even more into the weekend. Let's talk traffic this morning, 6:02. No crashes, no accidents. I believe I'm starting on 71st Street. I think that's what I had queued up first. Or actually, it is the Indianapolis Airport. Here's 71st Street along 465. So you're looking there towards the south. 71st Street goes underneath, and they've been doing bridge work underneath there for 71st Street. So that will continue a bit today. You may want to use 75th Street as an alternate route to get kind of underneath 465. Headed to the airport this morning, no delays, and there's not a single delay at the International Airport either. We're looking all right.
Thank you, Matt. Developing this morning, the latest developments now on the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. That manhunt is still going on this morning after he was shot during an event at Utah Valley University.
Kirk was taken to the hospital after that shooting, but died a short time later. He was just 31 years old. And last night, people gathered for vigils across the country, including one hosted by Utah's House of Representatives at the state capitol.
Speakers called this a tragic day for the country. Many people at that vigil carried American flags. Shortly after the shooting, police said that they had a person of interest in custody. That person was questioned and then later released.
Yeah, and then another person that police say they had in custody as well. He was often attending political rallies, was arrested for obstruction of justice, but also not believed to be involved in the shooting, and was also released. So investigators say the shooter fired from the roof of a building on campus into the courtyard where Kirk was talking to students.
And moments after Kirk was shot, people in the crowd just ran for the exits.
So everyone in the audience got down. Emma and I crouched next to each other, and she said a prayer, and then we ran with pretty much everyone else into just a room that was nearby.
It's terrifying for everyone out there. The campus at the Utah Valley University is closed for the rest of the week. Last night, President Trump called Charlie Kirk a patriot and said that his work will continue.
An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come.
Now, the FBI says it is working with local and state law enforcement still this morning, searching for the shooter at that scene and places associated with a possible suspect as well.
So Kirk founded Turning Point USA. That's a nonprofit that works to bring young Americans into conservative activism.
We talked with Turning Point USA leaders at Indiana University who tell us they're working through shock and grief and trying to make space for members members who need support now. They say there's a deep connection to Charlie Kirk in Indiana. Kirk appeared on Indiana campuses, including a stop at Purdue University this past spring, and he was actually scheduled to visit IU next month.
Turning Point's IU chapter says that the focus right now is making sure that students' well-being is prioritized. Turning Point's IU chapter says that the leaders will be sharing any memorial information on their social media pages, and if we learn of any plans, we'll also share them as they come in. So this morning, lawmakers from both sides have been condemning this shooting.
Democrat Andre Carson posted on social media last night, "Political violence is never okay and must be stopped." In June, Minnesota Democratic lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were killed, and now Charlie Kirk has lost his life. My condolences are with Charlie's family, especially his 2 young children.
And Carson's Republican colleague Jim Baird released a statement about Kirk, saying that in part he was a passionate leader and an inspiration for so many young conservatives in America. Charlie dedicated his life to serving God and advocating for the values that make our country the greatest nation on earth.
And that, of course, just a portion of the reaction from Hoosier lawmakers and political leaders across the country. We have more of this for you online.
We're also monitoring for any updates as that manhunt, again, is still happening this morning for the suspect in this case. We'll share new developments here and also at WTHR.com. New this morning, a man is under arrest in a homicide investigation in Lebanon.
So that's in Boone County, just north of Indianapolis. And we want to show you what we know so far because this just happening overnight. Lebanon police tell us they were called about a possible homicide on West Street before 7 last night. At the scene, they tell us they found 64-year-old Don Bowers, that is, dead with what they're calling obvious traumatic injuries.
A short time later, police say they took a suspect into custody, but on a preliminary murder charge. Police are saying there's no threat to the public, but they are asking anyone who has helpful information to come forward.
Well, as city councilors prepare their 2026 budget, public safety remains a high priority.
We've certainly reported a lot about issues with officer shortages and recruiting efforts. So now we get a chance to see what the department itself is asking for next year. Let's get to Marina Silva reporting live downtown with a look into what the chief here is asking of the council. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Well, it's budget season here in Indianapolis, and that means different city leaders are going to the City County Council and presenting their budget. So just last night, IMPD Chief Chris Bailey presented his to the Public Safety Committee. He laid out multiple goals and priorities for the agency, including violence reduction, community engagement, technology, as well as recruitment and retention. The 2026 budget is more than $358 million. It's up nearly 3% from 2025. So it's divided between several funds, between state law enforcement and grant funding. According to IMPD, violent crime is down 30% since 2021 and 24% since 2024. As of today, the department has 1,409 sworn officers. That's 334 short of their goal of 1,743. Chief Bailey said the proposed budget delivers on their promise to fairly compensate officers and ensure they have the tools they need to continue to serve and keep those numbers going down.
The mayor made a promise to meet the terms of our labor agreement and to compensate our officers fairly and appropriately. He has delivered on that promise, and at a time when law enforcement agencies across the country are struggling to recruit and retain officers, having a city that values and invests in its police department is essential.
And in any industry, many know that when you're short-staffed, that's a lot more work on people, and IMPD officers are definitely feeling that. So what's next for this proposed budget? It's going to go to the Review and Analysis Committee. They're going to make a recommendation, and then it goes to the full City County Council, I should say. Well, coming up at 6:30, I'm going to talk about a vote that's going on between IMPD officers about a potential work schedule change. So we'll hear about that just coming up in a little bit.
All right, see you then. Thank you, Marina.
And now to a deadly police shooting in the city of Lawrence.
Investigators tell 13 News that the man charged at officers with a weapon before police opened fire. This is around 1:30 yesterday afternoon along Red Rock Road that's near Pendleton Pike and Carroll Road. Police say that they were called to a group home where a caretaker had been assaulted.
When they arrived, police say the man actually came at them with a knife, so police shot him. He was taken to the hospital where he died. No word on his identity just yet, and police say no officers were injured in this troubling incident. And Metro Police also trying to find who's responsible for a deadly shooting on the north side of Indy.
This happened around noon yesterday at an apartment along Dulwich Lane. That's near 79th and Township Line Road. Police officers tell us when they arrived, they found a man inside an apartment who had been shot and did not survive.
Police believe this began with a disturbance between people who knew one another. So far, though, no information on a potential suspect has been released. Happening today, the man accused of killing an Indiana police officer and attacking a prison guard will be back in court.
Carl Boards could face the death penalty if he's convicted. He's being evaluated now for intellectual disability and a possible insanity defense. We may learn more about that evaluation today.
So Boards is charged with murdering Elwood police officer Noah Chavez in July of 22 during a traffic stop.